Tonight, tragedy on the trail.
7 years that I've been helping, I've never seen something like this in our area.
A fatal snowmobile crash takes the life of a local teenager. Plus, ready for a return to normal.
It's altered the way we really choose to go out of our house.
Police start clearing the scene near Western University. And Willie's winter prediction.
It's an early spring!
The frigid festivities in Wyerton and the hope winter's days are numbered.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Police are starting to clear the scene near Western University more than a week after launching an investigation which led to multiple arrests and the discovery of potentially explosive chemicals. With the latest, including new charges against one of the suspects. Here's Rita Ismail.
10 days after police descended on a quiet neighborhood near Western University, Chesham Heights is starting to return to normal. London police say while they'll remain in the area for an undetermined amount of time, equipment is being removed and partner agencies are no longer on scene. For residents, that shift is being welcomed.
It's altered the way we really choose to go out of our house. We've stayed in much more. When we've gone, we've had 2 separate police checkpoints that we've had to go through, although they've been very kind, very nice, no problems.
Others say despite the disruption, they felt safe.
Well, I have no concerns. They've been very good. We felt secure here. They've been looking after us safety-wise, and I'm going to trust the court system that they'll do what they need to do.
Some neighbors say police action may have prevented something far worse.
I thank the police at the checkpoint for catching the suspects when they did, before any harm might have been done.
And for families who were evacuated, relief is setting in.
I know that my neighbors that were evacuated are very pleased that they'll be getting back into their homes and start back to the way things used to be a couple weeks ago.
But while the police footprint is shrinking, the legal case is expanding. All 4 accused remain in custody. Court documents show one of them, 25-year-old Faye, also known as Frank Hahn, appeared in court today and is now facing additional firearm-related charges, including weapons trafficking. Hahn, along with 2 of the other accused, is scheduled to appear for a bail hearing Tuesday. The investigation began after a trespassing arrest at Western University led police to a loaded handgun and the discovery of hazardous chemicals inside a nearby home on Chesham Avenue. Since then, additional search warrants have been executed in Ottawa and Gatineau, with police confirming the investigation now spans multiple cities and provinces. London police say the case remains active and stress public safety continues to be their top priority. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Tributes are pouring in for a 14-year-old boy who was killed in a snowmobile crash over the weekend. With more on what happened and the community reaction, here's Jerry Dewan.
An obituary posted on Monday described Dominic Cross as a kind, fun-loving fella with a heart as big as his smile. The 14-year-old Cross died after a collision involving the snowmobile he was riding and a pickup truck. The crash happened on Road 92 near Line 23 in Zora Township.
I mean, every club member we have and every snowmobiler in the area that I know, just heavy heart.
Brandon Bowen is president of the Thamesford Snowmobile Club. He went to the scene on Saturday to help snowmobile trail riders navigate around the scene. He says there have been tremendous strides to make snowmobiling safer for all.
7 years that I've been helping, I've never seen something like this in our area.
In Ontario, anyone with a valid driver's license can ride a snowmobile. A person between 12 and 15 can obtain a motorized snow vehicle operator's license. That can only be used on private property or designated snowmobile trails, which are groomed and maintained by clubs.
We install with volunteers all the trail signage, your stop ahead, your stops, your speed limits, all the appropriate signage that OFSC requires for the trail.
Dominic Cross was a grade 9 student here at Ingersoll District Collegiate Institute. On Monday, the Thames Valley District School Board dispatched a team to try and help students and staff deal with his loss. In his obituary, Dominic was described as a lover of all sports, with his favorites being fishing and hockey. He was a U15 player with the Thamesford Minor Hockey Association. A celebration of life will be held at the Unifor Hall in Ingersoll on Saturday evening. In Ingersoll, Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
Crowds gathered in Wyerton today for the 70th edition of the community's Groundhog Day festivities. With more on Wyerton Willie's prediction this year, here's Scott Miller.
What Willie told me is he did not see the sun, so everybody knows what that means. 1, 2, 3. It's an early spring!
For the 6th consecutive Groundhog Day, Wyerton Willie hasn't seen his shadow, which by tradition means it will be an early spring.
It's fitting for the weather we've been having for the last 2 to 3 weeks. So, you know, people in this area are used to this type of thing. We're here in the wintertime. We know what it's like. But it is nice to hear from Willie on a beautiful day like today that it's going to be an early spring.
A parking lot packed with folks from across Ontario braved minus 20-degree temperatures this morning to hear Wyerton Willie's prediction, which was music to most people's ears.
I'm ready for an early spring this year. Too much snow already. Yeah, at this point. I mean, I do love winter, but at this point, I'm ready for spring.
We were hoping for an early spring, and hopefully he's going to be right this year.
Yeah, what do you think?
That would be great because my car said it was minus 18 this morning heading out here, and let's get her a little warmer. Early spring would be great.
Like much of Ontario, Wyerton has been absolutely buried in snow this winter. Almost 350 centimeters so far. That's what Wyerton would normally get in an entire winter.
The gentleman on stage mentioned about his snowblower was blowing belts. We've been having the same things happen. You know what? We're just about ready for it to warm up for sure. We're happy.
Although enthusiastic for Willie's prediction of an early spring, some in the crowd are questioning just how realistic it might be.
Well, I mean, I'm excited for tulips, but it's hard to believe that spring's coming early when it's this blistery cold, but we can stay optimistic, right?
I mean, I do have hopes that it is going to be an early spring, but I don't really know with how cold it is.
I think like the bay's frozen. I don't think we're going to get like winter like this far, but I think we're going to get like a really early spring.
So once again, the crier's bell did ring. Yes, Willie predicts. Now hear this. It's an early spring!
In Wyerton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Good evening. I love the optimism, and I also love Wyerton Willie's forecast of an early spring. It did not feel spring-like this morning, that's for sure. So many brave souls out cheering on Wyerton Willie as he made his prediction. The wind chill this morning felt like minus 22 to minus 25. As we moved into the afternoon, temperatures coming up just a bit, but still dealing with wind chills this evening, anywhere from minus 12 to minus 15. We've had an area of light snow move through the region. We will see some accumulation tonight towards the Bruce Peninsula. South of that, just trace amounts of snow expected. However, as many people headed home for the day today, we did encounter some slick roads as we did pick up a little bit of snowfall. Temperatures overnight will dip down between minus 7 and minus 11. Again, I mentioned that wind chill, feeling like minus 15. Temperatures take a bit of a ride this week. We have one day where the temperature will climb above freezing, followed by a blast of cold. I'll put it all together for you coming up in just a few minutes. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. Tenants at a Tillsonburg apartment building say they're being reno-evicted from their homes. However, the property owner claims renovations and safety upgrades are necessary to keep up with market conditions. As Brian Bicknell reports, residents say they're being treated unfairly.
Pure BS is what it is.
Oh, I'm kind of choked. It was really short notice. They could have done this way differently.
Brothers Robert and David Craig are not happy campers. They've lived in this apartment building on Devonshire Ave in Tillsonburg for 10 years, and now they're being evicted.
I've got to find a place to live because otherwise I'll be homeless. Yeah. And the situation in this town is horrible for renting anything.
Last month, tenants received a letter from the property owner terminating their tenancy. It explained that apartments are being updated and asbestos is being removed. Tenants could move back in when the work is complete in 8 months. No mention of how much they would pay in rent. They were also given a choice of accepting $5,000 compensation if they move out by the end of March.
We had about a week or two to decide on this whole cash buyout, if you want to call it that, of the current tenant lease you're in, and good luck, and don't let the door hit you behind. The cash, hopefully the check cashes, and that's about it.
We asked the building owner, Rex Brondile, for an interview. He did not agree to one. What we received instead was a series of statements explaining his reasoning and expressing his political views. If we don't fix our buildings, we're slumlords. If we do fix them up, we're greedy, said Brondile. The socialist agenda has ruined our housing in Canada, and until common sense returns, expect for things to get worse for every Canadian. Things did get worse for Canadians at another of his buildings in Chatham, Kent. Last week, tenants at Terrace 40 told CTV News a similar story to that in Tillsonburg.
But it is essential that necessary work to be completed to keep up with rental market conditions.
What are you going to do, David?
I kind of want to stay here, but you know, like when you can't afford a room, like what do you do?
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Provincial police are appealing for public help trying to solve a pair of homicide cases from 27 years ago. On February 2nd, 1999, police found the bodies of Roger Smith and Wendy Havron inside a Wellington Road home following a fire. Police say they died from blunt force trauma, though, and the fire was set intentionally. A $50,000 reward is on offer for information leading to the conviction of the person or people responsible. London City Councillors say they aren't happy about a $7 million deal with Imperial Oil to relocate an unused pipeline. As Daryl Newcomb reports, it seems it's the only way to widen a stretch of Sunningdale Road plagued by congestion.
They hold a lot of the power in these discussions, and that power extends to things like permitting.
A council committee had few options but to accept an agreement with Imperial Oil that would relocate a section of this pipeline so a congested stretch of Sunningdale Road can be widened to 4 lanes. The pipeline is currently unused but maintained in a state where it could be utilized. A draft agreement would see the city pay $7 million to Imperial Oil, approximately half the cost to decommission and move the pipeline further north. Councillor Corinne Rahman isn't happy Imperial Oil will eventually have a brand new section of pipeline that it can profit from, partially paid for by Londoners.
As a giant, you have to understand when you're taking advantage of folks, and I think we've done our best.
I am reticent to what feels like to me contribute to a large gas company's removal of a pipeline that seems like they might eventually have had to do it anyway because they don't have anything running through it.
The committee recommended accepting the agreement in hopes the pipeline will be decommissioned by summer. Road improvements would follow, including 4 traffic lanes, new bike lanes, and sidewalks.
They have to provide us with a permit at the end of the day, and so we're at the mercy of the pipeline operator to be able to move forward with this project.
Given the power imbalance, Councillor Rahman admits the financial deal reached by city staff is likely the best London can do, but she would like to have a further discussion about greater community benefits.
If they're going to at some point activate this line, then I'd like to see them get more involved in the community to support other infrastructure projects around the area.
Rahman believes the senior levels of government should be more active participants in negotiations between municipalities and the private operators of pipelines and railways.
This is where the federal government, the province have a role to play. Especially the federal government right now, pipelines are on their agenda. So let's have them get more involved in these types of negotiations.
If the new pipeline isn't built within 10 years, the city's contribution towards that phase of the project will be reimbursed. Council will make a final decision about the agreement with Imperial Oil on February 10th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
The countdown is on, less than a week away now from the scheduled launch date for the Artemis moon mission. On board, London's Jeremy Hansen, the first Canadian to venture that far into space. And watching on, his parents, who live in Ingersoll. They spoke with John Venevalley Rao about their feelings before blastoff.
So this is Orion Jeremy spacecraft, and he's going to be up in there for the launch. So pretty amazing.
Jeremy Hansen's parents are excited to finally see their son climb into the top of this rocket and blast off towards the moon.
I'm Jeremy Hansen.
What has long been his dream.
This is when we took him when he was in kindergarten.
Mom and Dad happily showing us pictures of Hansen as a space-obsessed kid here at age 6 during a visit to the Kennedy Space Center. On his first day of school, he carried a Star Wars lunchbox.
So this one is Happy Birthday from Space.
And check out the cake Mom made him when he turned 7, featuring Martians and a moon made of icing. And now their only child, who just turned 50, is set to boldly go deeper into space than anyone's gone before.
We're so happy that Jeremy's going to finally live out his dream. But we're also very nervous.
Hansen and 3 American astronauts hope to board NASA's Artemis rocket as early as next Sunday, then head off on a 10-day voyage, slingshotting around the moon. The rocket is set to undergo a critical fueling test this coming week, with Hansen aiming to be the first non-American ever to leave low Earth orbit.
I think it'll be a proud moment for the whole country.
Mom and Dad are heading to Florida ahead of the possible launch. They say it's something Hansen's wanted to do since he was 5 and came across an encyclopedia entry about Neil Armstrong on the moon.
Then he went out that night and looked up the moon, he was thinking, I could go up there.
And he came out that day and said, I'm going to be an astronaut. We didn't think he would.
On the Ontario farm where they lived, Hansen converted the treehouse into a spaceship.
He had some old breakers, with the switches.
Like, make it look like it was like controls and everything. Very imaginative.
They say they know the mission has its risks, given the rocket and capsule, which are new, have never carried people before. Mom putting it bluntly.
He might not come back.
But she says she has a lot of confidence and trust in NASA.
Some people think it's just another launch. But when your child's on that launch, it's different.
Proud parents hoping to soon see their son turn a childhood fantasy into reality. John Benavalli-Rouse, CTV News, Ingersoll, Ontario.
And there are other regional ties to the mission as well, which includes students and faculty at Western University. With more on that, here's Sean Irvin.
Inside the new headquarters of Western Space, excitement about the Artemis II mission is out of this world.
My excitement level is through the roof and spilling out my ears. It's amazing.
This PhD candidate is performing a small role on the Artemis team. Jack Hostrasser can't believe the moment is almost here.
Even now, with the rocket on the launch pad and they're putting fuel in it, it's just so big.
Well, he will join other students to watch the launch from London. Another Western scientist will see it as close as non-NASA personnel can get. Dr. Gordon Osinski is part of the science team planning for Artemis III, the first mission that will land on the moon and return new space rocks.
You will have a new batch of samples from somewhere on the moon we've never been to before, either with robots or humans.
But with that liftoff more than a year away, Osinski is focused on the launch of Artemis II.
Everything's becoming to feel a lot more real. With Jeremy Hansen, somebody I know very well now, about to be strapped to the top of the rocket and heading off to the moon.
After all, few of us under 60 can recall this moment.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
That leaves the door open for a new era of space excitement and cooperation in a time when the world needs positive distractions.
I really do hope that Artemis II is going to elevate the profile of space, not just in Canada, but around the world.
This is going to open up decades worth of new science projects for new students to discover new things. Like we're not just here for Artemis II, we're here for the story that's about to begin.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
The mayor of Lucan Biddulph says she will not seek re-election this fall. Kathy Burkhart-Jessen posted her intentions on social media without providing a specific reason for the decision, only saying it was not made easily. This is Burkhart-Jessen's third mayoral term. She also ran for the Liberals in the most recent provincial election, finishing second in the Lambton-Kent-Middlesex riding with about 25% of that vote. February is Black History Month, and members of the local Black community are celebrating the Forest City's untold stories contributing to London's history. With more, here's Lawrence DeLone.
As February marks the start of Black History Month, researchers from Western University are working to uncover stories lost in London's history.
London feels very much like a white space, especially when you look at historical pictures of London. But there are lots of locations in London that testify to this Black experience, and so we wanted to explore that more.
And one location is especially meaningful, here at the corner of Rideout and Dundas.
This was the location of Alfred T. Jones's apothecary shop. Alfred T. Jones escaped from enslavement in 1833, and he came to London via St. Catherine's, and then he became the owner of a drugstore.
Researchers say just across the street from the apothecary shop once stood a dry goods store owned by Alfred T. Jones's brother.
It's a really good example of how visible Black presence was in London. And how maybe erased it is now.
They say it is important we continue to discover stories and understand London's Black history.
We're really trying to find more information from sources that aren't always consulted, and from people that weren't always consulted when, our current interpretations of history were being, constructed.
Meanwhile, members of London's Black community are hosting events throughout the month to showcase the strong and ongoing presence across the city.
It's always that past looking towards the future. It is the endless possibilities. It's to make sure that rights that were hard won are not being taken back or in current climate.
The Museum of London will be hosting a Black History Month opening ceremony this Saturday, an opportunity to reflect, learn, and celebrate London's vibrant Black history.
The theme this year is Empowered Voices, Endless Possibilities, 200 Years of Living History. It's going to be a very exciting, exuberant day.
The event will take place from 1 to 4 p.m. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
When we come back, courting a Canadian contract, the pitch from South Korea looking for a commitment to buy their submarines. Plus, we'll update the situation at Chatham-Kent Health Alliance after a boiler failure forced surgery cancellations.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. South Korean officials are pitching a massive partnership with Canada, bidding to build our next generation of submarines. Plans are in the works to sail one of them across the Pacific to be inspected on our shores. With more, here's Judy Trin.
A deep dive into what could be the biggest defense procurement in Canada's history, the purchase of up to 12 submarines.
Because this has now evolved into a government-to-government situation. It's a big, big procurement. This is going to be a relationship with the winner for years, decades to come.
To persuade, the South Korean Navy plans to sail the KSS-3 submarine across the Pacific and dock in British Columbia, a journey that will take 2 months.
Hands up here. Okay.
CTV News also got to see Hanwha's pitch up close. We couldn't film because of security protocols, but the attack submarine holds about 50 sailors. It launches vertical missiles that target land and has torpedoes. But the deciding factor will rest on economic benefits. To win the contract, Hanwha is pledging to help hard-hit businesses, like investing $345 million in Algoma to buy its steel and help it build a plant to make beams.
It's been tough as tariffs have been in place for a year and half of our business has gone away.
While some companies are hurting, others are looking for ways to expand. Using robotic technology, Hanwha builds 45 ships annually on its assembly line. Speed, Ontario's shipyards want to emulate.
I mean, what they do here is cutting edge. It's absolutely fantastic. If we can bring just a fraction of that to Canada, I think us as a country would be a lot further ahead in our shipbuilding endeavors.
The deadline for Hanwha and TKMS to submit their bids is March 2nd. It's a deal that could be worth $100 billion spread over more than 3 decades. It's investment that Canada needs to protect itself from Donald Trump's trade war. Judy Trin, CTV News, Koje, South Korea.
Officials in a remote Northern Ontario First Nation have found a parasite in the water supply after most residents had already left because of problems with the water treatment plant. With more on the ongoing issues the community has been dealing with, here's Annie Bergeron-Oliver.
The several hundred people remaining in the fly-in community of Kashechewan may soon be without medical care. The medical staff are pulling out soon, a month after a state of emergency was called in the Northern Ontario community of about 2,300 people. Once the confirmation of the cryptosporidium was in the water supply, Health Canada, I think, and their health teams decided that they have to remove their nurses out of the community. The paramedics will follow. Indigenous Services Canada says the community's nurses are expected to depart today, but that orange air will be on standby if needed. The residents who are choosing not to evacuate will have to drive about an hour away to Fort Albany Hospital for care. Roughly 370 people are still there. We're starting to make plans to get these individuals or these families out of the community. Evacuations began last month when a state of emergency was called after the community's water treatment system failed, sending sewage into people's homes and contaminating freshwater systems. Late last week, tests confirmed the parasite cryptosporidium was found in the community's water system, the same parasite that made more than 60 people sick.
It doesn't take much of this infection to ingest to actually get us sick. And the primary syndrome of this infection is a gastrointestinal syndrome.
A temporary boiler has been hooked up at Chatham-Kent Health Alliance, which staff say should allow the hospital to get back to full operations this week. Before that, though, there was a wave of canceled surgeries. With more, here's Bob Belichico.
It's never okay to cancel a surgery, so that's something that we really don't ever want to do.
But it's something Chatham-Kent Health Alliance has had to do since early last week. CKHA has always maintained its ability to perform emergency surgeries, but in all, 35 to 40 elective surgeries have been canceled to date because of boiler failure.
I'd say a good half of them were ophthalmology surgeries or cataract surgeries.
So one of the 2 boilers on the roof here at CK Alliance failed last week. The second one struggled. A temporary one was brought here on Friday and is expected to be set up by tomorrow or late day Wednesday, bringing everything here at the hospital back to normal. Losing a boiler means CKHA has been outsourcing, sterilizing their equipment to other area hospitals.
I want to thank Blue Water Health and Erie Shores Healthcare for their assistance in reprocessing our devices over the last week to minimize the impact on surgeries.
Heat in the hospital has been maintained, but it's being described as not ideal, leading to complaints. The hospital has ordered another temporary boiler to replace a 23-year-old piece of equipment. The boilers were part of an infrastructure and equipment renewal plan that has been a topic of discussion for the past 6 months.
Our original plan was to do an RFP for that work in about a year from now, but we'll be doing that right away.
The renewal plan has a 20-year horizon, and the boilers just moved to the top of that list.
That's something we'll be doing over the next month or two, is putting that plan in place.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Julie's on the desk with me now, and of course, the infallible Wyerton Willie gave us his prediction earlier in the newscast. Maybe let's just start with the short term. What's this week looking like?
Yeah, this week, temperatures still averaging below normal. We'll have one milder day. Looking ahead at forecast models, Carlyle, as we hit about mid-month, things look to shift. So in terms of the next couple of weeks, we will start to see conditions improving. This week, not so much. We have a couple snow producers coming in. and temperatures, as I mentioned, on the colder side. Look at our low, -22, shy of the record back in 1973, and our high at -7. Satellite radar shows that snow that moved through earlier. Still some flurries in the forecast, but nothing major. We do have a low pressure system well off to the north and a couple of cold fronts that will be sneaking their way through in the next 24 to 36 hours. So you can see the area of snow out ahead of the low pressure system. Again, the low will stay north of us. We could see some heavier accumulation towards the Bruce Peninsula. Tonight, generally under 5 centimeters, so that's nothing in terms of accumulation compared to what you've experienced this winter. Now, the front will come through tomorrow, and then the winds will be shifting northwest, and behind that front, ushering in some colder temperatures. So tonight, not quite as cold as it's been over the past couple of nights. Temperature coming up just a bit with wind chills overnight, close to about -15. As we head into the next 24 hours in terms of snowfall amounts, you can see north of London, possibility close to about 6 centimeters toward Owen Sound. Huron County, again, trace amounts of snow for you, 2 to 4 centimeters, and in London just a couple centimeters total, so trace. As we look across the country, Western Canada dealing with milder conditions, maybe basking in milder conditions, not dealing with it, and some rainfall, and then we get into this cold trough, and that's bringing all of this cold air back into the Great Lakes. Parts of Newfoundland are dealing with some heavy snowfall tonight after a big weather system moved through today, and dealing with some snowfall warnings continuing this evening. As we take a look at the forecast tomorrow, -6 the high. Northwest winds will take us through the afternoon, and then the temperature once again will drop down to about -17. So a brief reprieve from the bitter cold heading into Wednesday, a mix of sun and cloud of -7, -6 on Thursday. Clipper comes in Thursday night. We're expecting snowfall to move through Thursday night into Friday. We will likely pick up accumulation about 5-6 centimeters total as we head into Thursday, Friday. A mild Friday at +1. A cold front will follow this system. Temperatures drop Saturday, -10, -8 on Sunday and mainly cloudy, and a mix of sun and cloud on Monday. Midwestern Ontario, a little bit more in the way of accumulation in through Huron, Perth, Grey and Bruce County, although accumulations with this next one quite minimal. Temperatures over the next couple of days, -7 to -8. Mix of sun and cloud on Wednesday, looking like a beautiful day. Increasing cloud Thursday with snow Thursday night late. The Clipper coming in Thursday overnight into Friday with snowfall. And daytime highs for the weekend, cold, -9 to -12. So spring is going to take its time getting here. Carlyle, of course, as it always does. These last 6 to 7 weeks tend to be very long for most people. So hopefully we'll get a bit of a warm up as we head through the second to third week of February.
We can hope. All right, Julie, thanks very much. Coming up on CTV News, what happens when you don't have the right paperwork? How missing documentation can disrupt a vacation.
Slopes for Hope is back February 27th at Boulder Mountain in support of Children's Health Foundation. Enter online at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of registration passes to ski, snowboard, or tube in a full day of fun on the slopes, live music, and more.
The federal government is fast-tracking a bill aimed at giving Canadians some GST relief after a Conservative motion received unanimous support today.
We have a crisis in this country for millions of families and millions in line at a food bank, and we want to see real relief.
The Conservatives say they agreed to support the Liberal bill while also calling on the Prime Minister to offer even more tax relief to offset high food prices. A refurbishment project has wrapped up at a nuclear power plant near Oshawa, paving the way for its return to service.
Ontario needs about 65% more power, so we're going to be investing in large-scale nuclear. That is our priority. A plan to expand Bruce up to 4,600 megawatts power for 4.6 million homes. And in just east here in Port Hope, OPG has a plan to build the world's largest nuclear generator up to 10,000 megawatts power for 10 million homes.
The provincial energy minister says the project was actually finished 4 months ahead of schedule and $150 million under budget, extending the station's operating life to at least 2055. Refurbishing efforts are also underway at the Pickering nuclear plant to extend its lifespan. A warning for anyone planning a trip with grandchildren or nieces and nephews. If their parents aren't traveling with them, proper documentation is required to get on a plane. As Pat Foran reports, that ended up costing an Ontario family an expensive trip they couldn't take.
It was very sad, you know.
Avita Gordon of Brampton was going to Jamaica with her husband for a wedding. They decided to travel with their grandchildren as Gordon's daughter had flown ahead as she was in the wedding party. But when they were boarding the plane, there was a problem.
I asked for a letter for the grandkids to show that, you know, I have permission to travel with the grandkids. I said I don't have one.
Gordon was told without documents showing the children were allowed to fly with her, they could not board the flight. All four of them ended up not getting on the plane.
I wanted to give the grandchildren a trip with myself, you know, and I didn't get on the flight. It hurts, you know, so much money down the drain.
The couple had to buy new airline tickets the next day, and the grandchildren had to stay home with relatives. This happened in December of 2024, but the Gordons had been seeking a refund from Air Transat, which was denied. A spokesperson for the airline told CTV News the children were traveling with their grandparents without a parental authorization letter, which is a mandatory requirement when minors travel without their parents or legal guardians. This rule exists to protect minors and prevent child abduction.
It is heartbreaking because it's something that I think people just don't think about when they're booking that trip and when they're making their way to the airport because they're just excited to be going, right?
Travel expert Jennifer Weatherhead says it's important to have the proper documents when traveling with a minor or you will be denied boarding.
You need their passport, birth certificate, parental consent, and that letter should be notarized to make sure that it is okay. You need to have proof of your relationship to the child as well, and then any kind of custody documentation.
You'll find travel information on the federal government's website and how to write a consent letter. Gordon wanted to warn other grandparents what happened to them.
If anybody's traveling with young kids, I advise them, make sure you get a letter of permission to take the grandchildren or whoever you're taking with you.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index began regaining some of the ground it lost at the end of last week. The TSX is up 260 points. In New York, the Dow added 515, the Nasdaq up 130. The Canadian dollar lost almost 2/3 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold fell more than $92 an ounce. Oil lost $3 a barrel. Later on CTV News, singing a song of protest, pop stars air their grievances with the Trump administration at the Grammy Awards. Welcome back. A fundraising effort this weekend in St. Thomas benefiting the family of a young girl waiting for a liver transplant. With more on the overwhelming show of community support, here's Brent Lale.
A moment of reflection at center ice for those who need organ transplants. The 11U Stars hosting an awareness game.
Each year we pick a different association that we want to try and rally around. We picked the Ontario Transplant Association about 4 months ago, and just so happened a couple weeks ago, a local girl, Lily Wag, it came out that she was in need of a liver transplant.
We're trying to raise money for Lily so that she can get a new liver. We have the Transplant Association here so we can raise awareness.
On the concourse, the Canadian Transplant Association's Kathleen Zavarese, a kidney and liver transplant recipient.
The liver, we call it like the super organ because it does so much, but can also, a portion of it can be donated. It will regenerate for the recipient and the donor, so it's a win-win. The person feels great being able to help save a life, and it gives the person a second chance.
The concessions are helping us out. We have a portion of their proceeds come to us today, and then a bunch of the kids making bracelets all week, signs all week, gearing up for this game and really rallying around. It's been really empowering.
In a message to CTV News, Ryan Wag says Lily is still waiting for a donor, and he's appreciative of everything this Young Stars team has done for his family.
The outpour has been amazing. Like, I'm not even from this area, and I can tell you that the story has been shared across the province. People in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia are sharing it and resharing it. It's gone, widespread. Don't give up hope because that match is out there.
Lily's grandmother was in attendance and even delivered a pregame speech.
I hope you guys win.
And on the ice, the Stars didn't disappoint. Not only did they beat West Lorne 5-4, they managed to raise more than $2,000 for the WAG family and the Transplant Association. Brent Leo, CTV News.
Canadian military officials say a 24-year-old soldier was killed in the line of duty last week in Latvia. In a statement, military officials say Sebastian Halmagian was on duty at the time of his death, but gave no details on the cause. They say he had served for nearly 3 years before his death. Latvian military police say they're investigating the circumstances with support from Canadian military police. An internal RCMP investigation has found last year more than 400 members were accused of misconduct, with cases ranging from improper social media posts to sexual wrongdoing and criminal code offenses. According to the RCMP, more than 70% of cases led to remedial or corrective disciplinary measures like special training. Nearly a quarter of cases resulted in what RCMP call serious measures like being docked pay or declared ineligible for promotion. About 5% of cases resulted in termination. Tomorrow on CTV News, an escape from the cold pushed back by delays. The latest on London's micro-shelter project and when it's expected to welcome residents. Tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Our photo of the day comes to us from Woodstock. Thank you so much, Gordon, for sending this one in. Not quite as cold across the region, but still dealing with wind chills into the minus teens. Flurries over the next couple of days. A brief warm-up on Friday before another cold blast heading into the weekend.
The 68th annual Grammy Awards were held in Los Angeles last night, a celebration of the biggest achievements in music. However, as Andrea Case reports, several celebrities used their moment in the spotlight to address turmoil across America.
What would I do if I didn't love you, baby? Four-time Grammy nominee Justin Bieber seemingly serenaded his wife Hailey Bieber in what host Trevor Noah called a captivating performance. This was Noah's sixth and final turn as host.
I believe in term limits. Yeah, I wanted to set an example for anyone who might be watching the show. You know, just leave when your time is up.
And there were more messages to anyone listening in the White House.
Bad morning!
The Puerto Rican superstar is set to perform at next week's Super Bowl and as such was not allowed to perform on the Grammy stage.
I'm gonna say, eyes out.
He used the platform to send a strong message.
We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans and we are Americans. The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love.
He wasn't alone. Best New Artist winner, Olivia Dean.
I'm up here as a granddaughter of an immigrant. I wouldn't be here. I'm a product of bravery, and I think those people deserve to be celebrated. So yeah, we're nothing without each other. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you so much. Bye.
A number of those in attendance wore Ice Out pins, including Song of the Year winners Phineas and Billie Eilish.
No one is illegal on stolen land. I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter and the people matter.
Andrea Case, CTV News.
The son of Norway's crown princess is expected to stand trial tomorrow on serious charges, including rape and domestic violence. 29-year-old Marius Borg Høiby faces multiple years in prison if found guilty. He's been charged with 38 offenses and was detained yesterday. Høiby's lawyer says he did not admit to the most serious accusations, but did admit guilt for some of the lesser charges. Greenland's prime minister says American authorities are still trying to take control of the Arctic island. In a speech to Parliament, the Greenlandic PM said the U.S. is seeking paths to ownership and control over Greenland, a pursuit he called completely unacceptable. He says the constant uncertainty is affecting people's sleep, and even children are sensing the worry and anxiety of adults. Donald Trump says he's going to close Washington's Kennedy Center for 2 years starting in July. He posted on social media saying the Performing Arts Center will undergo reconstruction, claiming the building is dilapidated and in bad condition. His announcement comes after a wave of leading performers canceling their shows there after he removed previous leadership and added his own name to the building late last year.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, a major fundraiser this weekend for local athletes. Special Olympians competed in Aylmer, coming from all over the province. Brent Lale has more on what the event meant to everyone involved.
The St. Thomas Police Pipes and Drums Band welcomes Special Olympic athletes into the gym for opening ceremonies.
I'm very excited to put on a good competition here.
The annual event in Aylmer welcomed 12 teams from Windsor all the way to Hamilton. The excitement pre-tournament was palpable, with officers representing Aylmer and St. Thomas Police as well as the OPP.
It's something that I think is really near and dear to most officers' hearts. There's a genuine connection behind it, and it's not just something people do. It's something that the officers really believe in, and you can really see it in things like today.
The basketball tournament, which featured competitive and non-competitive divisions, took place on the same weekend as the Tim Hortons Special Olympic Donut promotion. That campaign pays for events like this.
Getting to and from basketball to the tournament.
It's a national campaign, and across Canada last year we raised $1.3 million just from people purchasing a donut on Donut Weekend. So it's very important those funds go directly towards supporting the athletes, their programming, school rentals, equipment, uniforms, everything. So every dollar counts. Last year in Ontario we raised over $600,000 right here in Ontario. So hopefully this year we can kind of beat that number. The largest source of fundraising for Special Olympics is the law enforcement torch run, and without that there would be a lot of trouble. So the other fundraising that supplements that is also very, very important.
And even during competition, there's a reminder of the Special Olympics oath.
Well, if I cannot win, let me be brave and be a 10.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.